Today we're going to work on lesson 6.2. This is about using proportions and solving proportions. So in your table of contents, go ahead and put the date over here and we will get started. So first it might be helpful to understand what a proportion is. So you want to have this definition in your notes. A proportion is a statement of equality, so that means an equal sign, of two ratios. So you're basically going to have, if you remember, a ratio is the same thing as a fraction, so it's going to be a fraction equal to another fraction. And then we will figure out how to solve those proportions. So we're going to start with two more basic proportions, and then we'll look at two complex proportions in this intro video. What you notice is we have a fraction equal to another fraction. So the easiest method to get rid of the fraction so that you can solve for the variable is something called cross multiplying. Now when you cross multiply, all you're doing is you're multiplying your two diagonals. So we're going to multiply the x times the 7, and we'll write that as 7x. Your equal sign comes down in between, and then you're going to multiply the other diagonal, 35 times 3. And we get 105. So if you notice, when we multiplied our two diagonals, that cross multiplying, don't forget that your equal sign goes in between, and now you have a pretty easy equation to solve. We want to get x by itself, so over here x is being multiplied by the x, so we're going to divide both sides by by 7, and then x equals 15. And we've solved the proportion. So not too bad. The one thing you want to make sure you do when you multiply your diagonals, first of all, it doesn't matter which one you multiply first. I tend to use the one that has the variable, so I'll multiply, the m and the 18 together first, but if you multiplied the 3 and the 24 first, that's okay, you get the same answer in the end. But what you want to make sure you remember is when you multiply one diagonal, 18 times m is 18m, you want to set it equal to the other diagonal. 3 times 24 is 72. At this point, you want to make sure that you no longer have any fractions. That's the whole point of cross multiplying, is to get rid of your fractions. And then we go ahead and we solve for m. We'll divide both sides by 18. Cross off your 18s. So m equals 4. All right, so those are two more simple proportions. Now I want to show you how complex proportions are going to work. Now what makes this one complex is pretty easy to find. If you notice, here's the x, but we're adding an 8 to it. So if you see any plus or minus signs within the fraction or within the proportion, it just means it's going to be a complex one, which means it will have a couple extra steps. But you still want to cross multiply, so I'm going to multiply the 2 times the x plus 8. Now it's 2 times that whole thing of x plus 8, so the way that we write that is 2 parentheses x plus 8. So there's your 2 times the x plus 8. Carry down your equal sign, and now we're going to multiply 12 times 7. And we get 84. So now we don't have fractions, we just have an equation to solve, but now that with that plus or minus sign, what it gives us is something we have to distribute. So we're going to go ahead and distribute the 2. We're going to do 2 times x, which is 2x, and then 2 times a positive 8, which is a positive 16, equals 84. And now we're solving a two-step equation. We're going to start by subtracting 16 from both sides. Carry down your 2x equals 68. And then last step, divide both sides by 2. So x equals 34. All right, not too bad, right? So again, you're just cross multiplying, but when you see that there's a plus or minus, that means that you're going to be doing some distributing within your problem. So we're going to cross multiply 9 times x minus 7, so 9 parentheses x minus 7. Carry down your equal sign. 12 times 6 is 72. Then we distribute the 9. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times a negative 7 is negative 63 equals 72. Then we're going to solve for x by adding 63 first. Cross off your 63's. And we get 9x equals 135. And then one last step, divide by 9, and x equals 15. Alright, so there's one more video to watch with just a couple more examples, and then you guys should be good to go with your proportions.